All right, guys, welcome back. It's Monday. I've got the deck plates epoxied in, and they've cured up really nice. Where they had that little bit of sticky or rubbery feel, it's no longer there. I'll flip you around, so you could feel it like right on the top and on the side right here. It's dry and smooth. It's no longer sticky, so it's definitely cured 100%, which is good, rock solid. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with 80 grit paper all the way around the side to kind of take off this residue and clean it up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that all the way around the boat, start in the front, work my way back. I'm going to go ahead and fix that little piece. And went ahead and cut out this cross member, or this cross beam right here, and that way it gives me room to get my box in here. It's too cold to glass the coffin box together. It's like 46 degrees out right now, so it's a little cold for that. It's supposed to warm up, I think, by Thursday or Friday, hopefully. So either way, we'll be on standby. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and just start sanding and prepping stuff for primer to get the boat ready to prime. Or I'm going to start sanding to get the boat ready to fare a little bit, and then that way I can get closer to, one more step closer to priming the boat for paint. All right, well, I got the sanding done. It actually turned out really well. I'm actually really impressed and thankful that it the lines came together and smoothed out. I'll flip it around here and show you what I mean, but again, it's really smooth right in there. Maybe just a little bit of fairing compound. This side right here, I mean, it's I don't even think you need any fairing compound on that side right there. The lines turned out really well all the way around the outside, all the way down to the back. I'll fair it in, but it won't take a lot of fairing, which is a good thing. So that'll be a little less work. I'm still debating whether I'm going to come in and tab around the top of the deck to the insert. I'm talking to a few guys and a couple buddies, and I'm still deciding whether I need to or not. I don't think you need to. The insert is not very thick, but it might spider crack on the outside of it. It'd be a cosmetic issue. The deck itself is epoxy down to the stringers, so, and that ain't gonna budge. That ain't gonna budge unless you do something very seriously to damage it, and you're gonna have more problems than epoxy or a deck lifting off the epoxy. So I don't think that's gonna be an issue. But I may come in and tab it. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna get it all cleaned up first, and then I might come in and tab it. 4 or 6 inches, something like that, and see what I can do with it. But when I do that, the only issue with that is that it's a lot more fairing, and to make sure that I got a good clean line in there, because it will look like a tabbing mark if I don't kind of, you can see the tabbing marks on the ribs there. If I don't get a really good line on it, it'll have like a tab mark all the way around it. So I don't know, I'm gonna sleep on it and kind of think about it and see what comes together. But overall, she's come my way. I've got this little deck right here, this little small deck piece. I got it sanded down and laid in there. It'll fit really nice once you epoxy it in. Went ahead and sanded down the center of this hole more down here in the bilge, because I'm gonna bilge paint all this. The only part I'm gonna tape this area off. Somewhere in here my valve thruster is gonna go. I don't know exactly where it's gonna go in there, but basically from there to somewhere in there, there's gonna be a valve thruster. So I'm not gonna paint that. I'll leave that unpainted so I don't have to grind and sand it all back later down the road. But gotta come in and tab this in with a piece of 1708 all the way around both sides. Definitely gonna do that. Definitely gonna make sure I get that glassed in, just to bond these two pieces of deck together, so it'll bond the deck and the stringer together. But let's see. Other than that, it's pretty good. I've got all the other pieces outside, just outside the boat here, the center console and all the other inside pieces that are gonna have to go in. So I'm gonna jump out there and start sanding those right now while I got some light, and waiting on my materials to come in for my gas tank. That I need that rubber, waiting on that rubber to come in for the fuel tank, and then once that rubber comes in, I'll 5200 at the bottom of the fuel tank, and then get those bad boys in here, and then I'll be able to put those other decks on top. So then I'll have pretty much a 90% solution to my decks. So she's coming, looking good. Kind of got my stuff set up right here in front of me. I've got the attachments, or all the pieces that got to go inside the boat. I'm waiting on some more materials, and right now it's like 44 degrees outside right now. Beautiful, pretty sunny, but it's like 44 degrees, which is a little too cold to be glassing anything together. It needs to be probably 50, 55 or better would be ideal, but 50 is a minimum recommended temperature for glassing, you know, or epoxying anything. So right now I'm just going to take this little bit of sunshine that I have and start sanding and grinding stuff that needs to be lightly sanded for the inside. I'll flip your hair what I'm talking about. We've moved the console over here in the front. I've got to lightly sand this. I've sanded a lot of it, but I went ahead and started taking a lot of the hardware off to you know, really get it sanded, and so I can get it faired and then primed. But this is the console that goes back on the boat. I've got all new windshields and new lights and all the new stuff to put on it. So we're gonna go ahead and get it start finishing sanded, and then I can fair it. I've sanded a lot of it, but I really got to fair it in. Put the new doors here and down here, and I'm gonna paint the inside of it as well with bilge paint and really make it nice. And I'm gonna come inside here for the windshield right here, or for these side windows right here. I'm reinforcing with some Kuza board and glass. That way I can screw the windows back in. Before they were just sealed in with silicone, and it obviously did not work very well, but it held, but it looked really nasty. This is the windshield that came out of it. I have a brand new windshield just like this, as well as two side windshields or panels. Those will go back in the boat. So right now I'm just kind of working with what I've got. I've got a lot of preparation to do. If I can get this stuff prepped and then kind of set aside, and then as soon as it warms up, I'll start to prime it, and then we'll be ready for paint. I'm going to try to get all the stuff that needs to go inside the boat painted. I'm going to get everything painted inside the boat and done, and then paint the boat. Once I put it all back together, I'll paint the outside of the boat. But she's coming. So it's a bunch of little stuff now. I mean, now that I got the deck inside, I mean, it's going our direction. So now it's really just the cosmetic piece, making the boat look, you know, basically new, you know, repainting her and bringing her back to life cosmetically. So most of the structural work is all done, and we're just moving forward with making her look pretty. All right, guys, well, I'm gonna get back at it. All right, guys. Well, I'm back here in the Shamrock. I've got all the deck plates in here. I'll flip you around so you can check it out. I've got all the deck plates in, but I've got a couple things I've got to trim up a little bit just to make sure they fit a little bit better. Same thing for this deck plate over the fuel tank. I'm going to trim it around the edge of it, so that way it has a small little gap between each plate and it fills up with a 4200 to make sure I got a good seal all the way around the deck plate. I got those deck plates up there in the front. They still need to be adjusted. All the ones in the center need to be adjusted, but I just laid them out, making sure that they fit left and right. But they look pretty good. So it's still pretty cold out here. It's probably high 30s right now, so I'm gonna let it continue to warm up. So I'm gonna have to wait, for a warmer day before I can really glass anything. But I'm just kind of cutting and prepping things that I can take care of. But I'm gonna work on this and get these deck plates sized in to where they fit really well. And then I got a package. I got mail. I didn't know it. And then Friday we're going to put the fuel tanks in, and I've been working on the inside pieces like the console and the small attachments. I've been working on those, prepping the center console for total fair and primer. So that'll be one of the next steps I have to do with that. Just kind of waiting for a warmer day before I can start mixing stuff. It needs to be over 50+ degrees to really mix anything or paint anything. So we got some warmer days coming up, so I'm kind of waiting on those days coming up here. So, all right, I'm gonna get back to this. That's perfect. That's what I'm looking for. Just a little line, just to get a little bit of 4200 to kind of come out and give me a seal all the way around. Same thing on this side right here. So there's just a little gap there. I want there to be a little gap to fill in with 4200 to seal this deck plate down, and then also bond to the stringer as well to the other deck plate. And then same thing, it'll bond on the outside as well as to the outside stringer. We're pretty good. So I gotta just do the other one next. All right, I'm gonna jump over to that one. Trim a little bit off of that one too. Pretty decent line. Not quite as straight as the other one, but I'll sand it back a little bit more. This side looks really good. The line looks really good there. It's gonna fill in with 4200, so it'll look real good and clean once it's all filled in and then capped off. All right, so I just laid in the coffin box lid with the coffin box underneath of it. It's not glassed together yet, but I just placed them in there because I wanted to see what the rise was after putting that box in there. I'll flip you around so you can see it, but I'm glad I did that because it's definitely not. There's a gentle slope going forward, so it's not a complete 1 inch or 3/4 inch all the way up. It's almost perfect up there in the bow right here, but as it comes back, it drops down a good 3/4 of an inch. But what I'm thinking about doing, instead of coring the box out like I did this box, I went in and I put 1 inch frame. I put a 1 inch frame all the way around this box, which worked out good, but I had to grind quite a bit of it down to get it to go in, because the original plan wasn't to have the insert in here. The original plan was to go back to go back in with no insert. So with the insert, it raises the whole lid up a little bit, which is fine. I just got to adjust. So with adjusting for this coffin box, I believe it's going to actually be better to take that 3/4 sheet that I have and cut it and lay it right over the top of this and epoxy it down. It'll still insulate the box, and it'll require less glass work and less fairing and everything. So I'll just glass the top of it, and I'll be able to build it up to where I need it to be, but it's going to have a gentle slope. So I'm probably going to have to go up a certain amount with it, or sand it down. I'm going to have to figure out how much to sand down as I go that way. So it's going to be a little bit of custom work to it. It's never, when you do anything custom, it's never perfect. Like everything, every little piece has to be cut and trimmed for that exact spot. So not a big deal. It's just one of those things that I want it done right, so I'm going to take the time. But I think it would be better to go ahead and lay a whole nother sheet of Kuza board right over the top of this and start fresh, and then trim it as I need it and glass it in, and then it'll be perfect and insulated. It'll be probably almost 1.5 inches of basically glass and Kuza board or composite board. So it will be well insulated, and I think it'll serve me well for a fish box lid. All right, I'm gonna keep at it and gonna get some measurements and see what I need to do with this.